Ruchir, you give me long-form answers to many of my questions, but I also enjoy doing a rapid fire with you, so I can pick your brains on a variety of subjects. Are you game for that?
Let's do it.
Let's try it, okay.
Especially if it's about the book.
Yes, I will introduce the book also. Would you rather have a drink with Usain Bolt or Sachin Tendulkar?
Usain Bolt for me, because I'm a sprinter, as you possibly know.
Yes.
And I think that in terms of that's just world class. So Usain Bolt.
Okay. But would you rather go to an IPL final or would you rather watch a high wattage Bollywood premiere show?
I would say in terms of IPL, you know, like the other piece, as you know, I wrote was that IPL's in a secular uptrend in terms of, and Bollywood just seems to have lost the plot. So even though I'm a movie buff in general, I just feel that Bollywood has lost the plot, whereas cricket is still, you know, in a secular growth phase.
Interesting. That's a really acute observation. You're right. A promoter in India that you admire?
I don't know if there's any one in terms of it. I mean, there's so many promoters in India that I like admire, and you know, some of them these are personal friends of mine, so very hard for me to pick one person.
Try.
But no, I'd say like, you know, like very hard for me to just name one person. I mean, in terms of, but you know, these are all friends of mine in terms of like they've all fought, you know, like in terms of great battles, they've built great businesses. So in terms of very hard for me to pick one person there.
Okay, fair enough. A market maven whose views you eagerly look forward to hearing?
You know, this is one thing which I've discovered about markets and stuff. That, for example, the one person that I respect a lot as a huge macro investor is Stanley Druckenmiller. But the one thing I've learned, and I think this is even a cautionary tale for some of your viewers as well, is that it's great to listen to them, but remember one thing, they can change their mind on a dime, and they're not obliged to tell you. So try to hear the insight, but for people who just follow, that I'm going to follow this one's advice.
Might be too late sometimes.
Might be too late, or they may change their mind, and they're not obliged to tell you about that.
Of course.
So get the perspective, but if you follow them to buy and sell stuff, good luck.
Be careful. A financial publication that you always read?
I'm biased. I'm a columnist for the Financial Times. For me, that is the true global newspaper, right? In terms of what they stand for, what they bring to the table. And so that's for, I would say, Financial Times.
And I would say the Sunday edition is extraordinary. Just reading the Sunday
weekend edition is like a great sort of offset in terms of, you know, like after the weekend, it's there. And in fact, even for my book, the first place I thought about writing the main essay was for the weekend edition.
Yeah, which I read often.
Yeah.
If you could invite any three people, living or dead, for dinner, I won't say drinks because I know you're a teetotaler, who would you invite?
No, in terms of the fact that, you know, there's so much I want to understand about it. I'd say that I really, you know, like when I went to South Africa, the one person I totally admired a lot was Nelson Mandela, because I went to Robben Island. I remember writing about this, that how do you go through those 20 years of oppression?
No enmity with India.
Exactly, and no enmity out there, right? I mean, that for me is fantastic. The one person in the current sporting arena who have, you know, like in terms of, I've been fortunate enough to sort of be like in his, close to his family box and watched him for the last 10 years is Djokovic. And for me, that's, you know, just been a great thing as investors, something which I would like to, I think like in investing, I think the most underestimated skill is temperament, and the most overestimated is analysis. But I'd say that why I admire people like him are people who have such mental toughness. I think mental toughness is something which I deeply admire. So he's another person that, you know, who's become my favorite sporting person more because of the mental toughness and the attitude he brings. And the attitude and the hunger that he
You made a fan
can
of my daughter-in-law because she's also a Djokovic fan.
Yes.
Great. What fascinates you more? The Indian election of 2024 or the US election of 2024?
No debate, Indian election.
Really?
Yeah.
You wear your sleeve as an Indian still.
That's right. Because
you live in New York, but you're in India.
I've done 31 election trips in India.
Written books.
I've written a book about it. It's like 25 years since I've done that. I emotionally connect with India. This is where my heart lies.
Okay. You mentioned Vietnam, Taiwan, Switzerland. Give me a new breakout nation.
No, as I said that in terms of, I think there are lots of emerging markets today with great opportunity. So, I mean, it's very interesting how some have come back from the dead. And this is instructive to us. 10 years ago, the basket case in the world was Greece. The biggest comeback story of the last decade has been Greece. Tells you what happens when nations carry out economic reform. Poland could be the next country to become a developed country. Then I think that the likes of in Southeast Asia, I think Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines are all doing well. So a smattering of nations are doing well. The next nation to become a developed country, which is a very rare occurrence, because
Very
200
rare.
countries in the world, 40 only are classified as developed, everything else is emerging. Next country likely to become a developed nation, and that's where, is in the news these days because the Prime Minister is also there, is Poland. So I think that that's the nation that we can speak about.
I have also heard similar stories out
Yes.
there. Last question to you, sir. Viksit Bharat by 2047, yes or no?
So I'm not sure what that even means. If it means that we're going to become a developed country, answer, the math isn't supported, right? If 6% if you grow from a $3,000 per capita income base, how do you become a developed country by 2047? And the other thing, which, as you know, which I've always said so, which is that I don't believe in making such long-term 20-year forecasts. As that saying goes, that that the new rule of forecasting is that neither you nor I'll be here to know whether we were right or wrong.
Right.
So I'm happy to make forecasts for the maximum this decade. Anything beyond that, I don't know. So as I said, but just mathematically, even if we compound at 6% till then, it's going. I mean, we need to compound at 10%, real GDP growth, to get anywhere close to that ambition.